Good morning, everybody. How are we today? San Ren, welcome. We're outside today. Oh, it's so exciting. Oops, come on. There we go. I haven't cured my pyromania. The dogs have abandoned me, but you will see grass and dirt everywhere because they're covered. Good morning. Hi, welcome. Bring this just down a little bit. There we go. Welcome to my deck. Hi. Wah, wah, wah. Is everybody ready? You came prepared today. You've got stretchy pants on already. How about that coffee? For our cannabis selection today, I have to warn you, I'm going a little light on the cannabis because this is the dank Sinatra that I said was coming, and it's very powerful. So it is dank, and it will lay you on the couch and never let you get up for hours. So just a little sprinkle today I had, and we'll see. I may get blurry-eyed in the middle of this, but stay tuned. Anyways, today we are going to talk about the bridge man. I had a request for the not the bridge man, the bridge guy. This is the Delphi case. I know the Delphi case very surface. This is going to sound silly. It kind of creeped me out seeing my name Abby in print all the time in relation to a murder. It just, when I grew up, I was the only Abby. It wasn't a popular name back then. And so it's just something I've never been to school with another Abby. I think I was well and truly 35 years old before I met another Abby. So it's just weird for me to hear my name said in a public thing that I don't sort of look up. I imagine Carols and Karens and Bobs and Bills have no problem ignoring it if they know they're not being spoken to, but a little gal, she's like 4, has just moved in down the block, and they come on the weekends, and her mother will yell, "Abby!" And I kind of run and like, what did I do? Are my dogs loose? But she's calling the little girl to get off the road or something on her bike. So that is why I never got super crazy about the Delphi murder. Was just Abby and Libby. It just kind of creeped me out more than usual. But I did, hey Cher, I did get a request from Cher to do Bridgeman. Oops, I got some pop-up. We'll just get rid of that. McAfee or, yeah, McAfee or whatever. Go away. I don't want it. Anyways, she had suggested, please do the Bridgeman. And then when I went back and kind of retouched on everything, I thought, what a great one, because nobody knows anything about the Bridgeman. I didn't realize that the police had been keeping everything so hush-hush. Now, let's do a little bit of housekeeping before we get on to the voodoo part. Yes, it's a Band-Aid. This is my dad's band, and he has passed. He passed February 11th. And this was bequeathed to me, and so I'm wearing it, but I haven't got it sized yet. So, I just wanted him to be here with us today. Cheers. This is my 3rd cup of coffee. And yes, it's Mama June coffee. All right, let me get comfortable here. So just a little bit of light housekeeping. No Lori Vallows update, really. I noticed everybody's just hashing the same crap around and around and around. And yeah, so no updates there. As a matter of fact, I actually am getting more and more people sort of swinging around to, you might have a point there. It seems unusual. What else is happening? Well, of course, in Canada, we've had the crazy denturist in his police car. Wow, what a story that's going to be. And just to show you how life here is, this just, everybody was overwhelmed because this just does not happen. So, I mean, there are places around the world when people say active shooter, people know what to do. Not much here do we see active shooter situations. So, just tragic. But will be very interesting because this fella was cuckoo, cuckoo, but normal, but could really be. I mean, he was a big. He had a business. He dealt with people every day, and his hands inside their mouth. Ooh. So I'm anxious to see what happens there. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this last few days ago, a gunman in a small Nova Scotia resort community flipped his nut and went on a killing rampage. And it started out at 13 dead, then 15 dead, then 17 dead, now 22 dead. Not only did he shoot people, he burned 5. There was 16 crime scenes by the time he was done. And how he got around was he had doctored up a car to look like a police car and had a home rigged up a uniform. So that's how he kept moving from site to site, and no one stopped him because they thought he was part of the response team. Anyways, very interesting story. So we will be looking at that at some point. Just gotta let some of the, it's like coffee, you gotta let the ground settle before you get in, or else you just end up looking silly. How about a big breath? Ugh. I've been working in the yard, my shoulders are tight and my neck is really stiff. So if I look like yeah, it is. It's just old lady stuff. Lukey's out here. He's in the sunshine. Oh, I left the screen door open, so I'll have a house full of mosquitoes probably. And Sonny was up here, but he was hogging space, so I told him to get over, and he said, fine. And he went in the house, and Miga must be in the house too. Dogs that lived on the street in Mexico, they don't want to be outside. They want to be in the house on the furniture. They're like, I had enough outside. Except Luke. Luke's our guard dog. All right, I'm just settling my mind. Going to get ready for some shuffling. So what I want to do is talk just about the bridge guy. I hope that's what we're going to talk about. I don't know. You know how it works. The cards kind of lead the story here. So what I know about this, I'm sorry for those of you who've heard this 1,000 times, but just let me recap. It also helps get me in my mind. And if you don't want to do this and you haven't got your stretchy pants, go now, get a coffee. Oh, I hope you're in a situation where you could do some day drinking. Maybe you want a nice frosty beer. It's 21 degrees here already. Celsius, so we know our trick, double it and add 30, so 20 and 20 is 40 and 30 is 70. Wow, that's suntan weather. I am not kidding. Okay, now I've got some other thing here. Wow, this is crazy with these pop-ups. Don't protect me. Go away. I've got this handled, you weirdo. I had somebody upload something for me, and he's a tech wizard, and so of course he gave me 30 free day trials of everything going, and now they want me to buy it. Abby and Libby lived in a little place called Delphi in Indiana, and they were kind of the tweens, I think 13-ish, 14-ish, and it was a Monday. It was Monday, February the 13th, and I don't know if that was a holiday, why they were home. Anyways, they wanted to go for a hike. They were doing as girls do, taking pictures and making little, like, Twitter posts, only there's another thing they were using, and not Twitch or something, I don't know, something kids do. And so, you know how we used to do it, but we had to wait a week to get our pictures back. You know, you do the I'm a model thing, and your friend would take your picture. So they asked if they could go to this nature area, and there is an old train bridge, a trestle bridge, big wooden bridge, uh, like 70 feet up in some spots. Actually, I was surprised how rotten that bridge was, and they let people on there. I was thinking that, Jesus, that looks like a lawsuit waiting to happen. Anyways, the idea being they were going to go for this hike, you know, like girls do, see if there's any young boys and take some pictures and have a few laughs and, you know, get away from their parents, basically. So off they go. The mother says, all right, but you got to figure out a ride there and a ride back. Well, it turns out one of the one of the young ladies' dad was working, so they conned a sister into driving them, and then the dad would pick them up. Easy peasy. So away they go, and they get dropped off, and they walk. And at some point, they go to this trestle bridge, and they are uploading Snapchat. That's the word I'm looking for. Libby takes a little video and some shots of Abby crossing this bridge, and loads them to Snapchat. And so she has her phone out. Well, at some point, a man is walking down the bridge, and the bridge is quite long. And I was thinking as I was watching, there's a fella on there's a million guys on people on YouTube cleaning up these photos. They have a couple of photos, I'll get to that in a minute. So they're working these pictures, trying to make them sharper and clearer. So as I was watching different ones of those, I kept thinking the bridge is quite long, and very narrow, and there's big holes, like there's railroad ties missing where you could actually see, you know, it looks like it's 100 feet down. So I mean, it's not like you're going to run anywhere on this thing. Well, that would be part of the fascination too, wouldn't it? It would be kind of a dangerous thing to do, right, as young girls. So I think they get midpoint on this bridge, and I think what happens is they look up and see a guy. Now, whether they saw him before and he kind of creeped them out or what, but for whatever reason, their spidey senses go up. And I don't know if he picks up speed or why, but instead of turning and going back towards safety, which would mean they'd have to meet him, I think they are hoping he'll turn around and go, but his presence just keeps backing them further and further until they're off the bridge. And at that point, he catches up with them. Now, Libby has the phone out, and she puts it on video record. How awesome in that moment, this young, like her parents, what a tragic outcome for them, but Jesus, they did a good job with that kid. Young preteen, you know, has probably had no real life experience, but she knew enough to listen to her heart and her gut, and she turned it onto video. And I also was left with the impression there's more video, but the police aren't releasing it because there's 3 frames of the man, the perpetrator, that they have released, and now a snippet of his voice. So isn't it funny? This happened in 2017, 3 years later, no action really. And you wonder, you have his voice, his photo, why can't you find him? It's crazy when you think about it, because, wow. Part of it is the police have released no details. We don't know, were they assaulted? We don't know how they were killed. We don't know if there's no more video. People said, why can't they release more video? And somebody said, because you might hear the girls suffering or something, right? Or there's stuff they need to keep quiet to keep the investigation pristine. Anyways, so I got thinking about that as well. And the voice thing was not startling, but reshaped my thoughts. So There are two composite drawings out there. One is of a stocky guy with a cap and a little round pug-nosy thing, and then they call it a bulbous. Well, that ain't really, I've seen bulbous. That ain't no bulbous. It might be the start of one, but I mean, wait till you see an old guy with literally a tennis ball on his nose. And then there's a younger one. They've gone back now and said it's a younger guy. So I watched the video, and here's what stuck with me. My very first take is, he's an older guy, and he's got a dodgy knee, or he's had a knee replacement, or he needs a knee replacement. Every man in my life has got bad knees, and they all have this funny hitch when they walk. And as soon as I saw that guy, I thought, I recognized the knee thing. Well, I sort of talked myself out of that, because then I realized he was stepping on these railroad ties with the gap. So I thought, well, that could be the hitch as he's trying to carefully place his feet on these railroad ties. But then I looked at his tummy. He has a bulky jacket on, but he has a bit of a belly. Now, fat younger men, fluffy younger men, are fluffy all over. It's like baby fat. They have jiggly knees, and you know, they're kind of rounder. Old men, if you ever watch, and now you're gonna, that wear a tucked in shirt and a belt to hold their belly up, they always have this barrel chest. But as you age, your arse goes away and your legs get skinnier. See, ladies, there's hope. Except now I have like for me, my badunkadunk is gone. So, you know, there's no happy, is there? Anyways, but it happens to old men too. They end up sort of just looking like two sticks inside their jeans with this big belly and this barrel on top. And if you look at him, that's how his jeans fit too. Plus, it doesn't look like young man clothes. I don't know. It just didn't strike me. Yeah, he's wearing a hoodie, but I don't know. That jacket didn't look very happening. All right. So that's all we know about the bridge man. He could be an older guy. He could be a younger guy. What he says is, at first they say it's down the hill. But now somebody's stopped it and pixelated it, and he says downhill. And he says it with a little bit of authority, like somebody who would be speaking to somebody younger than them, specifically like how almost a parental person speaks to somebody. You know, get in the car. It's not I'm asking you to get in the car. It's I'm telling you to get in the car. I don't know that 21-year-old people have even developed that yet, you know. It would be more like down the hill instead of downhill. Like, if you know what I mean, all those things. So that's what I think. That's what I know. How about we read the cards and see? And there's a gazillion things out there about Delphi murders. If you want to stop and go watch something so you can see if I'm even close. And there's also a huge following of Delphi murder people. So let's clear the jets out right now and just explain to you what's happening, so I don't have to go through my comments and explain to you. This is for fun. I have no axe to grind with anybody about the Delphi murders. I'm going to read cards. I have very little knowledge of the case, so we're just going to see what the cards say. This is for entertainment, so you don't need to lecture me about, I don't know what I'm talking about, don't I know about the shadows or the whatever. I had that happen with the Chris Watts, and I was sort of taken back. So please don't do that. But stay and watch and have some fun with us. But this isn't serious. I'm not going to delve in deep into pixels and where the sun was and how much distance, all that stuff. That's for you hardcore Delphi people. But I'm sure you'll have some fun here, because if you're a true crime junkie, you just like to hear about true crime people. That's all. So cheers, everybody. You ready? Here we go. Obviously, the dank Sinatra is a big talking machine because I'm already 20 minutes in and I haven't even dealt a card. Come on down. But again, where have you guys got to go? Nowhere. We're all trapped here at home together, so. And I suspect some of you just are looking to hear another human voice and probably enjoy the fact that we don't get nasty and crazy here, and you don't have to worry I'm not gonna start down some nutsy thing. If you're wondering how I feel about the tarot cards, I've said before, I think the tarot cards talk about human nature, and although they are a parlor trick and you should never base life decisions on them, they certainly are a tool to start you thinking in a new direction. Perhaps take your blinders off and think with the other side of your brain for a couple of minutes. That's all. That's where I find they're useful. If I get stuck in a pattern and I can't seem to think my way out of it, say dealing with a difficult person or something, lots of times the cards force me to reframe the story and an answer then pops out. Anyways, I'm going to move the fire because you know how I operate. I'll have the volunteer fire department here in 5 seconds. I can't decide if we should use, which cards we should use for the main deck and which ones for the clarifiers. I think we're going to use the tattoo deck as our main deck, and we'll use my Los Scarberos for clarify. Sit there, please. Oh, good. I finally jiggled the table. All right, let me shuffle these a little bit more. So we'll see what they say. Hopefully they'll be talking about a male right off the bat, because I really don't know much about Abby and Libby. Like I said, I don't know if it's superstition that makes me not want to talk about Abby. I don't know. There's a card. I love that one. One big one pops up. It'll tell us. Oh, sure we go. King of Wands. King of Wands is a well-rounded guy. He is a good, say, family man. A good dad figure. He just is a, how would I describe him? Sort of jack of all trades, master of none. Like, he can fix the flat tire on your bike. He can probably barbecue a great steak. He's a, you know, he does a good job with the band-aid on a boo-boo. He could be a really nice guy. A negative King of Wands is somebody who gets a little self-centered, can become passive-aggressive because they become sort of a doughy couch potato people, and they overpromise and they underdeliver, and eventually they just get they become stunted. They just are so lazy they don't let new experience and knowledge into their world. So think of somebody who's open, gregarious, friendly, and then just imagine you push pause and he never expands from that point. That's a negative. So right off the bat, I am thinking, whoever this is has had some decent input in his life. He has seen a normal grown man modeled, so he should grow up to be that. So maybe he's a negative King of Wands. Interesting. Anyways, who cares? Let's go. Let's see what the rest of the cards say. But that's funny that an older male energy would pop up before we even get going here. Oopsie. My fingers are slickery today. How's everybody doing on their quarantine 15? Now, do you know what that is? They are saying that we're all going to gain 15 pounds with this quarantine. Folks, I got bad news. I've gained 4 kilos. Oh, right, you guys don't know kilos. 2.2-ish pounds in a kilo, so 10 pounds. Abby's not happy. So I am laying off the bread for a while, and the cheesies. I've been eating cheesies at night. But the yard is, I'm out working in the yard now, so. Eight of Swords on the bottom. Swords are in your head. Swords are something that traps you in your mind, and the 8 is literally like a prison of your mind. Okay, now we'll put on some clarifiers, and again, if you're new, this is like seasoning, so it's not going to change these cards. It's just either it's going to enhance the flavor or fill in some color. There is no rhyme or reason. If you're looking to see, you know, what she does, or forget it. You won't be able to, because I don't even know what I'm doing. I've been doing it for so long, I just kind of do my own thing now. And I see I missed a card there, so we're going to pull another one. Because I like 2 there. It's on the bottom of this. Oh, 6 of Cups. 6 of Cups is something from your past, a memory or something from your past. Sometimes it talks about being sentimental. Sometimes it talks about a memory. Maybe in this case it's talking about something from their past. Could be what drives this. Maybe something happened to them that makes them feel they need this. The other thing I need to say about this guy before I go any further, because once the cards are up, you know, I don't want to interfere with my cards. You don't kidnap 2 girls the first time. So we know already this guy has to have had a test drive or something, because wow, I just can't imagine thinking he could control 2 girls. Oh, and that's the other thing. He's done stuff. The police said, we know what you're about because you did things. He left signatures. So again, they allude that he may have a history of this. All right, here we go. Let me flip cards and quit talking. Oh, goodness sakes. Oh, this is interesting already. Oh, look at that. Huh. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Sorry. Duplicate. Couple of duplicates. Okay, here we go. Come on up. Take a breath. Let's clear our minds. Ready? I'm excited because this one isn't so much like the making of a murderer. That one I really was clueless. This one I do have some thoughts, and I was actually peeved off because I got it in my head with the older man and then they put out the new, I got watching and they put out this new composite drawing, and it's significantly different and younger in age, and I was really curious what would happen. And I'll tell you right now, there's no young men in this. They're all men, like adulty guys, like 40 plus kind of, you know, sort of have a little bit of life experience under their belt. So, I might be right. So we have the King of Wands. Like I say, this guy is not spectacular at anything. He's just a good guy. He has good intentions, and he can do most everything reasonably well. Whereas, say, a King of Swords, for example, he has extra special talents in a certain field. So we have sort of a normal Joe. Oh, I'm going to have this stupid piece of hair again. I apologize. Being glamorous is very difficult. Where is this guy, right? If we could get him on Zoom and just sort of have a chitty chat with him, what would he be telling us? The Seven of Swords is somebody, it almost is a little bit of a sociopath, or sociopathic behavior, in that they have anxiety and nervousness, but they don't have a lot of empathy. So they're anxious and nervous about their outcome and welfare. Some people may mistake it as that they're nervous and anxious about everybody, but no, really, it's just them. This almost a win at all costs. And very like, well, what are you mad about? Of course I would do that. You would too. And you'd say, no, I wouldn't. And they'd say, yes, you would. Because it's never occurred to these people that anybody else wouldn't screw them over, right? Because they just do not think that way. Yeah. And what's with it? A new beginning. So maybe he's moved to another town, or is going to put himself out as a different person. Like, you know, he's changed up. It's not like he's with a sword. You stay on the same track. You're going in the same destination, but you've pivoted. So maybe, you know, you're going to grow a beard, or you're going to dye your hair, that kind of thing. You're still doing everything, but you've changed something up on that track. This is, I'm getting off that track and I'm going to a different track or a different path. And this will cause him to start at zero. So I'm wondering if he hasn't moved to another town where he starts at zero. Nobody suspects, because, for example, they really feel strongly this guy would have to be from around the area. And I agree. This little path and this train trestle, this is obviously something that the locals know about. And he seemed to have a really good idea of the traffic patterns. Like if somebody went down that bridge, they had to come back. So he knew when the girls were there by themselves and at their most vulnerable. So perhaps they are sort of putting these appeals out to these local towns because they feel this is a local. So perhaps this guy has sort of moved out of the radius of where they're looking, and he's got into a new community, and he's sort of going to present himself as, you know, get under the radar kind of thing. And maybe he has to say, I don't know, maybe he worked at a tire shop before and now he's going to work at the glass shop. He's going to sort of not create a whole new identity, but just get himself away from the heat. Because this talks about beating the bushes, you know, starting from the ground. What was on top of that? This moon comes up a lot, doesn't it? And I think it's a perfect card for somebody who does murdery stuff, because it literally talks of this battle of the tame domestic dog and the wild wolf. I'm always terrified when I say wolf. I'm going to say woof. So I just say woof and get it out of the way, and I dropped a card. There we go. Anyway, so there is this. This also talks about not a clear picture. The moon is a reflective light. It's not like daylight. It gauzes things over. It makes things appear better than they are. And you're never going to get a clear picture, right? And possibly it could be applying to him. He maybe does not even understand what drives him. This may be such a base evil in him that he doesn't even understand. And maybe that's how he sees himself, as the guy who goes to work and performs normally in his community, and then there's this wild beast that he controls, and it comes out every now and then. Because there's a lot of give and take. The Six of Coins is you'll see it's up here again. It duplicates in here. The Six of Coins is a quid pro quo card. You help me, what is it? You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. So maybe that's something that happens inside of himself. Maybe what he does is he says to himself after this, the normal nice guy in him says to the bad wolf in him, all right, that's the last time. And he says, yes, okay, whew, I got away. That's it. I'll never do that again. Oh my God, I'm a terrible person. And he's, you know what I mean? He's just bullshitting himself. That could be it, or he has somebody who protects him. And another thing I had been thinking about is I really still feel strongly there's a woman out there who recognizes this guy, and whether it's his mother and she's trying to protect him, whether it's his wife or a sister or somebody who's trying to protect him, I just really feel there's a female involved in this. And maybe that's what this quid pro quo is. You know, I love you so much, son, but damn it, you have to stop this. Or they are lying to themselves too, and pretending they don't see the writing on the wall. So that's the atmosphere around him right now. Is he's in a little bit of inner conflict. I didn't see he feels the hounds are upon him like that, but he certainly realizes that yeah, he's been lucky so far. But, you know, don't do it again, because you're going to get caught. But the interesting thing is, I believe he's done it before. Okay, so what if we could see down on his life? What would we see? If we could just go up and just sort of look down like at a... Yeah, they took the roof off of his house and see. What would we see? Yeah, he is not stable. Five of Wands and the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords is stabbed in the back. It talks about the end of something and a bad end. It literally is the death of something. Usually it's a relationship, because these are analytical things. The Five of Wands is my argy-bargy card. It's that wrestling like kids and dogs do, and you know, it always ends in tears, right? Yeah, it's fun until somebody pokes their eye out. Well, that's how it starts. It's sort of our nah, 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 and then it just suddenly stuff tips over and people start to get angry. And you can see what happens is that makes combustion and something flares up. Somebody's going to get burnt. So maybe what the police know is they know who he is. Maybe he's under surveillance right now. Maybe his phone is tapped or something, because an end is coming and he's going to get burnt. This almost tells me that somebody's going to come forward and talk and stab him in the back. Oh, so imagine this. So we go up in the drone and we can see down, and here he is here. We can see the outer rings of his life, what's coming in closer to him. He may not. So as we're looking up, we can see the stab in the back and this kerfuffle that's coming, but he doesn't even see it, and it's coming in. Ooh. I love the Ten of Swords, especially like for a bad guy, because it's like, it's Roger Stone stuff. What's underneath him? For some reason I pulled two sets of cards. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. But they're interesting. The first was 2 threes. Threes are a funny number. Threes talk of a tripod, right? It doesn't work with 2. You have to have 3. It never is going to be 1 or 4. It's always got to be 3. Think of a stool, right? You can't take a leg away. It just doesn't work. So threes are a tricky situation, right? Everything has to stay as it is, or it'll collapse. 3 is money. Maybe money is a problem for this guy. Maybe he can't hold a job and he ends up involved. This is sort of also has a connotation of dark money. You know, the burning your vehicle for insurance money, that kind of sketchy, you know. So he has this 3 right now. So, and then The Three of Swords. The Three of Swords is my loss and almost my death card. Because these three swords are the kind of loss that pierces a heart and you cannot heal it. There'll always be a scar there, and it's your heart, so it's your emotions. Maybe this talks of the two girls and maybe another victim. Could be that. But interesting, 2 3s. Yeah. So that's part of his soul. Here's the other part of his soul. The devil. And the 9 of coins. The 9 of coins is somebody who's got themselves to a level of comfort. They are living off the fruits of their labor. It's a good place to be. It almost is a calm. There's nobody. There's no bill collectors on the phone. It's not like a rocket ship of joy, but you are content. Think of content. Yeah, that's the perfect word. So he has a devil and content. He's got dark money, dark efforts, and death loss. What I think happens is this devil inside, we're talking about his insides right now. Whatever this devil is, and wherever it came from, whether he was abused or he watched scary movies or he was born that way or nature, nurture, whatever reason, he has this side. We all know you can undo that. We all do it. We've all stood as a 6-year-old in front of the penny candy and thought, but we know better. We've been taught better. We don't give in to this. He has. And when he gives into it, he feels this relief. He lets this build and build and build and build. And then he starts to act. And his first reaction is, afterwards, is it quenches that in him, and he feels that. But this is what comes up right away. Anxiety, the loss. Why did I do that? What the gosh darn, sorry, trying to keep this PG friendly. What's wrong with me? Why do I do this? I'm a horrible person, those poor, whatever. But I don't think this is so much money as its value. This is something that fills that empty pit in him. So it's almost he gets relief from that gnawing, but right on its heels comes this. And it starts that all over again. If you think about it, I think that's the answer to this 6 of coin. It's the, almost like I need a cigarette, after a, you know what I mean. Anyway, so he gets that relief, but immediately he starts to feel that shame and guilt. And the shame and the guilt is what drives that behavior. And he's trapped in this big old cycle. And so what drives him is he wants that feeling of relief. But it doesn't last. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen with him is doesn't it always happen? It gets shorter and shorter and shorter. The first one, he accidentally ends up killing somebody, and then it's like, oh, well, I might as well do this all the time, and then actually gets better at it, don't they? They're smarter than you would think. So, somebody's going to stab him in the back and cause things to heat up for him. Things is going to hot up. I don't think he's going to be a superstar when the police get to him. Because I think he does suffer. But it just builds, that devil just builds until he feels, I think that's how smokers get when they, on about day 6. It's like, I just had to have a cigarette. I was not going to have it. You just give into it sort of thing. So that's him from above, where he thinks he's at, and down in his heart. How did he get here? What did this to him? Again, remember we had the 2 3s? Look at this. The two twos. Twos are a coupling. Twos are a partnership. So, 2 of Swords is a stalemate, a blockage, something you cannot move or change. And the 2 of Cups is a partnership full of emotion. So it could any kind of a family type hookup or love affair. This isn't a hot, passionate love. That is the Lovers. This is a long-term, comfortable relationship. So it could talk brother, sister, mother, son. But it also could talk of a long-term, loving married couple, for example. But you know what I think this is what drives him? Is that perhaps he has a very stunted relationship with say his mom or a sister or a girlfriend. There's been partnerships that either he's stunted or they don't grow, and it keeps him locked down. That's why I almost want to think it's a parental figure, because that would make the most sense, right? Somebody who's just never allowed him. Maybe it was something as simple as, suck it up, boys don't cry, or something, and it has caused him to stop right there, just pause in his emotional growth. So he's had a relationship somewhere that meant a lot to him emotionally that has stopped him, stalled him, stunted him. What should he be watching out for? What could happen? Another 2. 2s are partnerships. 2s are literally one person's got his ticket. 2 of Wands. Where we had the 2 of Swords, it's a pause. 2 of Wands is waiting, active waiting. The reason you're paused is because you've done all you can do. Now it's time for the next person to do their part so that you can pick up the rest. Sort of like a relay. So it's not that the race is over by any means. You're just waiting to get the baton so you can go the next leg. Whereas the 2 of Swords is stopped. He's stopped. So he got stunted there. Somebody is actively waiting. Perhaps they have phoned in a tip and they're waiting for results. That would be a good example of active waiting for some DNA or something. Why I think it may be a tip, or see, there's the signature table wobble. Oh, Jesus, sorry. Anyways, here, look at her. Oh, I love this card. This is a mother card. So maybe he does have something going on with his mom. I'm looking at my wrinkles in this camera. Oh my God. Anyways, she's a cool cucumber. You would think the Queen of Cups would be just a mother. You'd see her surrounded by all these kids with sunbonnets and posies and, playing croquet on the green lawn. No, she's kind of stern. She does love her kids, but she almost has that attitude, spare the rod, spoil the child, I'm doing this because I love you. In a twisted way, when she's not on her game, it becomes almost a cruel to be kind kind of thing. I have to teach you this so that you will, I'm going to make you sleep in those wet pee-pee sheets so that you'll learn never to do it again. That kind of mom. Because she has a cup. She can't let her heart be open. She can't let her stuff out. She's got her own crap. So she is a cup. Wow. So maybe mother or some woman. This is an older woman. She's not like a teenager-y person. And I think he's in his 40-ishes. So I'm going to guess it could be a sister, cousin, not somebody related to him, who's keeping her mouth shut right now. But she's waiting. Maybe she's made a deal with herself. As long as he toes the line, she'll keep quiet. But if he does anything else, she has to tell. So that is what he should be watching out for. What's going to happen? Our quid pro quo card again. This 6 of coins. So maybe mother's got her own problems. Maybe she's got a problem with the law. Or maybe she needs something. Or maybe she's afraid of him. Maybe he's kind of figured out that she's starting to waffle, or she's getting clued in. Something's happened that somebody's going to go to the police, and I'll tell you why I think it's the police. And they're going to say, I need some protection, or I need my charges dropped. I need you to do me a favor, and I'm going to tell you a favor. Why do I think it's somebody's going to report him? Judgment. I'm so excited. Judgment. Look at, there's I think that's Gabriel, the angel, and he's calling the corpses up to the pearly gates, and you are about to be judged. Oh, you better be clean here or you're not getting in. So this is literally the judgment card. So it isn't even just justice judgment. This is the whole ball of wax. So whoever this is isn't just going to squeal about Libby and Abby. Is it going to work? What's going to happen? What's the outcome? Let me pick up these other cards I dropped because I just don't like a mess. All right. So there's a female, an older female. She knows something. She's holding her activity back. She is not stalled, but she's waiting. She's waiting for something. And when this finally happens, it's going to stab him in the back. It's going to stop this, and he's going to feel the heat. As a matter of fact, he might get burnt. This person needs a favor. They need help. Perhaps they need somebody to talk them to, convince them they need to do the right thing. And what it's going to do is, this is the ultimate judgment. This would even be judgment by the community. So maybe that's the other thing. It's, you better turn him in before they find out, or the town is going to draw and quarter you. Tens, I should tell you, are an ending. They mean, because in numerology, you always take the number down to 1 digit. So 10 is the first 2 digit, right? So it becomes 1. It signals the end of a cycle and the start. I'm so sorry. I just can't concentrate with that thing in my face. Stay there. Anyways, tens, that's what they mean. So when you see the 10 of swords and things like that, it's the end of something. 10 of coins is, interestingly, family. Family legacy. Family traditions. Family heritage. Sometimes it can talk about things you pass down. But I think in this case, it's almost like he's the son, and he's not going to have children, and the name will die with him in prison. It's going to be, the whole family's going to be affected, and I think this is the end of this family. Like, if there was ever, like, it's not going to go on and on and on. The legacy is over, and even if there are family members that are going to reproduce in that community or whatever, they will split from this and sort of start their own reputation and stuff. This will be, I almost feel that he is a long-standing family people in this community, and their legacy is what's on the line. And this must be the chief of police, because that guy, either he's crazy or he's crazy like a fox, because he has kept this whole thing so quiet. I mean, he is literally dropping out the information in an eyedropper, and we don't even know the cause of death, because I mean, if it's strangling, like, that's right up and close. How did he subdue one? Did he tie them up? We don't know any of those details. So he has been so methodical, so clever. I almost wonder if he's not clevered himself into a long drawn out case. Perhaps if he'd have been a little more forthcoming, he'd have left the door open wide enough that the person who's going to talk would have would have had to talk before now. But anyways, there he is. This king with his sword of truth, who can cut through bullshit, who just takes it down to the lowest common denominator. This is life and death, basically. There is no excuse for this, is what he's saying. It's pinpoint. You're a murderer. And if the family doesn't smarten up and get going, the legacy will be destroyed. Maybe they're putting pressure on, say, because I think they have a pretty good idea who it is. Because I think there's more video. And I think it's just a case of they just need, literally, the bucket is full and they just need that one more drop of water and then the bucket will pour. I want to pull just a couple cards just for fun, just to see who is this, who's going to bring the end to this family legacy. And or is this guy going to do it again? I'm sure he's done something pretty close before. If he hasn't killed them, he's certainly been violent and, you know. And is he after kids, or were they just a convenient target? Maybe he is married. Oh, I don't know. Because we have another queen. She's the Queen of Pentacles, so maybe he lives at home with his mother, and she provides the roof over his head, and she supports him in a form or fashion. Maybe he has a job, but she's washing his clothes and making his lunch. So here's this queen, somebody who provides actual physical support. Remember, Ten of Swords? I said somebody's going to stab him in the back. Ten of Swords. Queen, Ten of Swords. This is the Sword of Truth. This is sort of a very quick, almost violent. So when she finally lowers the boom, he's going to piss her off. She knows something is wrong with this kid. She doesn't know what he's up to. And he's not a kid, he's a grown man, but it's her kid. She is, I just want to get it straight in my head here. So it's like he's living in her basement. And yeah, he pays her like $300 a month rent sort of thing, you know. So technically he's paying his way, but he's not paying his way. And she's still basically supporting him by feeding him and make sure he's got clean clothes to wear and things like that. And then something happens. She could tolerate some of it, but there's something's going to push her, and that's it. Oh, let's just see how we're going to do on time. Can I get a time card here? Six of Swords, which is moving towards smoother water. Six of Swords. Oh, yay! When is the move coming, and what is the move to? Justice. Six of Swords. I'm going to say at least 6 months. But I think 18 months. For some reason, I'm thinking no. She might blab in 6 months. It's going to take them 6 more months to bring the case and arrest. And maybe it'll all be done in 18 months. But there it is. There's justice. Oh, goody, 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 goody. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So the bridge guy, I think he's like a 40-ish kind of guy. Sort of one of those basement dweller, mother's basement dweller kind of guys. Yeah, and for whatever reason, he's stunted at some level, on an emotional level. He got stunted. And he just acts out. And even, he wasn't raised to that either. He probably had a pretty decent, like, You know, I mean, I don't think he was raised by wolves. Um, but judgment is a coming, and justice is a coming. So, write that down. 18 months. So it would be the fall of 2021. Yeah, I think he's older. Okay, this is really long. It's an hour, and I do apologize, but that was fun. I really got into that. Yeah. All right, good. Keep the suggestions coming. Hopefully, it won't be windy next time, and we can sit outside in the sun. I have a little cubby hole that I have sort of blocked in on 3 sides, so I can, you know, on the 2 hot days a year we get, I can sit out in the shade out of the sun. So that's where we are now. We're tucked in out of the wind. It's quite breezy here. So anyways, it's been swell, guys, and yeah, keep us in your thoughts and prayers. Those poor folks in Nova Scotia, I am sure their worlds are shattered. This is in Nova Scotia, well, anybody from back east, they literally are the salt of the earth people, and this is just unbelievable. Us Albertans were kind of rough and tumble. Not Nova Scotia people. They're very nice. So, bye everybody. Thanks. The boys say bye. All right, here we go. Come on, get in there.